Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gray Area. My name is Alex, and today we have singer, songwriter, composer, producer, DJ, Life on Planets. How are you doing today, man?
Yo, yo, what's up, Alex? Doing good, doing good. Just moved
Good,
into a new
good.
spot here in Miami. I'm a Miamian now, so getting the house set up and doing some home improvement today.
Very nice. How long have you lived in Miami?
So I've been coming and like hanging out in Miami for the past couple of years, but we just made like the full-time move official in August. But I actually came down here like last December during the pandemic to just kind of feel out the vibe and hang out and see some homies and just see if it was the right fit.
Miami's a great place. How do you like living there so far?
I love it. I mean, growing up on the East Coast, or rather in the Northeast, all my life, I've always had winter, and to finally be able to skip it, it feels like something out of a fairy tale, you
I was
know?
gonna say, man, like I'm from California. I grew up in the Bay Area. I live in Oakland. We don't really have seasons here. It's just like between 60 and 75 all the time. So I can't imagine what have been must have been like growing up in Baltimore with actual winter.
I know, dude. I mean, I remember growing up, we had like crazy blizzards and stuff, and cars would be buried. I used to make a little bread going around and shoveling snow, every winter.
I can't imagine. I don't do cold weather at all. No, I don't even. I'll look at it from the inside, but that's about it.
But
So I almost never asked this question, and I'm sure you've been asked it before, but there's got to be a good story behind your name. Can you tell me how
uh,
you came up with the name Life on Planets, or how somebody else came up with the name Life on Planets, for that matter?
yeah, so I was living in Baltimore, and I had started working with this producer. He goes by Discuji and runs a label called Better on Foot. And so I don't know, like I was really into astrology. I had just gotten this book called The Secret Language of Birthdays. And I
Have
was
that
like
book.
asking, you have that one? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it tells you based on your birthdays if you're like a better partnership for like work, if you're good for just being friends, if you're better lovers, whatever.
Yeah.
And so he saw me like going around asking everybody, like, oh, what's your birthday? And I was asking him, and I was like even like doing his numerology and stuff. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Like maybe we just should be friends and stuff. And he's like, bro, like you work with me, like I'm gonna work so hard. I'm gonna get these beats out there. I'm gonna get people listening to them, and like we're gonna crush it. And so he's like, yo, you're always asking about like every single thing about the planets and the birth charts and stuff. Life on planets should be your project name.
That's that's kind of genius. You got. I mean, I'm sure you've thanked him for coming up with that one, but I really like that name. That's appropriate.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
and somehow fits into your style of music as well. Because I kind of feel like Life on Planets makes me think about organic things, and all of your music is just super organic. How why is it that you found a way to like infuse house music with all of these like beautiful kind of like traditional sounds, and why is that so compelling to you?
Word. Well, when I first started the project, started like hanging out and seeing house music, I was actually also busking, playing on the streets in Baltimore. And so I was studying a lot of like gypsy jazz, studying like reading like Miles Davis's autobiography and like ingesting all of this like just old school rhetoric and trying to really like tap into some of that, just like I don't know, the tradition of
Yeah.
music. I was like jamming and doing a lot of like just playing around and goofing around and finding really like crazy chords to play. And I had a friend just like, yo, like we got to take it back to the basics. And he was really like just started schooling me, and like he's like, yo, you got to drill your scales. You got to really like study because there's a rich history here, and you don't want to just make whatever and pass that aside. You gotta respect what's come before.
I really appreciate that. That's kind of seems like I feel like that's been a constant in your life though, because when you were younger, you were super into like jazz. You got a saxophone like as your first instrument. You have like a rich musical background already. Can you talk a little bit about your musical upbringing and what kind of music was in your house when you were growing up and how that all contributed to your musical DNA?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, grandma go over to grandma's house, she'd be watching me and I'd throw in, have the little cassette player, throw in some James Brown. It'd be just jumping all around the house, like, oh yeah, Sex Machine. I don't even know what a Sex
No
Machine is back
idea,
then.
right?
Singing it. So yeah, definitely a lot of funk, a lot of R&B. I'd go over to my aunts and I, hang out with my little cousins and we'd be watching like BET and VH1 and watching the Destiny's Child videos. I remember singing, "This Is How We Do It" in the car, when it would come on the radio in '95 and stuff, in my car seat singing, "This is how we do it." So definitely a lot of R&B, a lot of funk, a lot of jazz. When I picked up, I started with the clarinet before sax, and was listening to like the 105.9 jazz station all the time to sleep at night and stuff. And so my dad he started introducing me to like Benny Goodman. He started getting like different jazz CDs from like John Coltrane, and then my dad was also a DJ, so he
Mm.
had like his mixes of like P Funk, of like Slave, Steve Arrington, all kinds of stuff. And he would have like have the like sped up versions and stuff and like different mixes. So like when I listened to P Funk, I like, when I went to listen to P Funk as a teen and stuff, I was like, wait, this sounds way different from what my dad was playing me, because it was
You were
always
hearing the
like
DJ
sped up or
cuts.
slowed down. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that really inspired me and helped me just like, I guess, find my way when it came to what I wanted to dig for and what I wanted out of music.
That's so nice. When did singing become a part of the equation?
Oh man, Alex, this is this is the dark secrets here. It's coming up. When I was in high school, I would always ride the bus and hang out with kids that were listening to a lot of like pop punk. I had a homeboy, one of my best friends. He played guitar in like some emo bands and stuff. And he was like, "Yo, you heard this Fallout Boy?" I was like, what is that? And so, bro, like I was listening to like Fall Out Boy, like Blood Brothers, Panic at the Disco, like trying to sing like those guys. They sung so high, and I was just like,
Yeah.
this falsetto is crazy. Like, how can I hit these notes? And so, man, I even talk about it in one of my poems. But my mom would come downstairs at like, I don't know, like one or two in the morning and be like, what the hell are you singing? What are you listening to? Because I'd be down there like, like, trying to get all
Try
those
to get
different.
the yes.
So yeah, so I really started singing around then, and like the weird thing was we would go and play in like churches on like the weekends and stuff. They always have like the pop punk and like the hardcore shows of the churches, and so we started going around and singing in the church, and we do, I would do a little gospel stuff too, but mostly this pop punk stuff. and
Yeah.
and that's it. Just was like, hey, come sing in the band. I heard you sing, come hang out, let's jam and stuff. And yeah, that was like high school.
I love that every second of this conversation, I've learned like a new musical level that's added to the way that you sound now. It's just fascinating. Like we just went from house to hip hop to rap to funk to jazz to pop punk, and gospel. That's that's insane. I also want to talk about like Baltimore just having its own musical sound by itself,
Mm.
especially in dance music. I mean, there's an entire musical style devoted to Baltimore. How do you feel like your city has influenced you as a musician?
So when I first started hanging out in Baltimore, I was going to art school. And so I was going to a lot of like the warehouse shows. And like, I remember one of the first warehouse parties I went to was some like metal band, and they were ripping apart some animal. I don't know if it was fake or what, but the guy, he like ripped the leg off a rabbit and like threw it in the crowd. And everybody was like, oh, and I was like, oh my goodness,
Wow.
like this is some other stuff. But it's always been very eclectic in Baltimore. You go
Yeah.
to a show and see guys like I remember I saw like Abdul Ali before he like popped off. I would see Abdul Ali at the same concert where there'd be like a noise like guy with like all these different little machines like just playing like just noises, like
Yeah.
and then like another like indie rock band, another experimental band, and so you just have hip hop, you've got punk, you've got house, you've got Be More Club, and all this stuff like just contained in the same venue. And so I think when it came to making music, I was just like, there shouldn't be any boundary or limit to just like sticking to one genre or having like one sound that sounds the same as what's come before. So yeah.
I love that. How did you start? When do you feel like you remember writing like your first lyrics? Like, and how did that emerge into you being like the storyteller you are now?
So first lyrics, I think it was maybe like senior year of high school. I was dating like my kind of, I don't know, high school sweetheart, as it
Yeah.
were. And I went over to her house. I picked up like she had her sister had a guitar. And so I picked up her sister's guitar and started like just dancing with it, pretending, and she said, hey, why don't you take that guitar? She never plays it. We're going to give it to you. And I was like, a guitar? I've never even played this thing. I don't know how it works. I know how a sax works, but I never even dreamed of playing guitar.
Right.
And so then that summer, I just started like playing the guitar and riffing. And I was like, oh, I want to like tell some stories with this music. And so I started writing like a little like concept album or something. I never really did anything with it, but thinking about this dream I had where there was this girl who would like sing,
Mhm.
and it was like when she sang, I would like, it was like almost like gravity disappeared. And so I was trying to like put that dream into these lyrics, into these words. And yeah, I guess that was my first song. Man, Alex, now I think about it, I'm like, dang, I need to revisit that and finally
That's a
put that stuff
fascinating
out.
concept for a song.
Yeah.
Um, and how often do like your dreams and like personal experiences make their way into your music?
I'd say pretty often. I mean, I usually like will try to interpret dreams. That used to be like a thing of mine. I used to like interpret other people's dreams and stuff and be like, oh, well, maybe this is what that means, and this is what that means. And oh, you saw like a white rat. Let me look it up on the dreamdictionary.com and like, oh, what do you think about finances? And so that's always been kind of a part of my life. And so I like to reinterpret or just kind of like recapitulate dreams in songs. But I also would read this guy, Carlos Castaneda. A friend introduced me to his work.
Familiar.
I guess it's a part of the Toltec Wisdom series about,
Yeah.
there's that other book, like the Four Agreements,
Eckhart Tolle. Yeah.
and it's like about like living and dancing,
Yeah.
and you like utilizing each moment to the fullest. And there's a concept called recapitulation, where you take an old memory, because we tend to have a lot of stuff that's stuck in these old
Right.
memories, whether it's like fear or embarrassment or whatever, or like love lost, and you're still just like pining over it. And so I was like, oh, maybe I can use this concept and put it into lyrics and just review everything that went into the relationship, everything that happened, everything that I felt, and try to get the truth out of it and try to just pull the energy back out of it so I can stop obsessing about it in here and have it out into the universe, just release.
I imagine doing that helps you sleep better at night sometimes because you're able to like I feel like a lot of people don't get the chance to reanalyze all of the things that have happened to them and they end up holding on to so many things so it feels like your songwriting is a way for you to not just let go of past pains, but also like revisit past happy experiences as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I always like to find out you've spoken so much about all of your vast influences, but how did you fall in love with dance music? How did that become the thing?
So like I said, I was playing guitar on the streets, met this house producer. And before that, I didn't really have a concept of what dance music was. I would like, when he asked me like, oh, you want to make some like house stuff, I was like, oh, what do you mean, like Tiesto or something? Like, and then I had a homie who was like, all right, like if you're gonna start making this music, electronic music and dance music, like let me like show you some of the history. And he sent me that documentary, I think, Pump Up the Volume,
Yes.
and just about the history of it. And I was like, oh, this is black music,
Yeah.
this is a black tradition, and it's obviously become interpreted in very many lenses and made its way around the world. But this is important, to really keep that tradition alive. And so my homie would take me around to like famous Baltimore spots like the Paradox and stuff, and we'd see DJs, and like take me to some of like the OG spots, where it's not like 20-year-olds, like no
Right.
20-year-olds, like all like everybody's like 40,
40
50,
plus. Yeah.
and like dancing and getting down and like really dancing,
Yeah.
and I was just like, damn, like this is everything I wanted in a party, to really dance and express myself. And I mean, even still today, I go to a lot of these parties and people, they got a little shuffle, but I try to encourage the dance in it. So yeah, I'd say, yeah, just bopping around Baltimore and checking out the scenes, and like the real classic scenes really made me feel like, oh, this is important. And then I think after that, after like going around and traveling and seeing other parties and stuff where it's like DJ focused and house music focused, and then coming back and being at like a regular show with bands, and then being
Yeah.
like, like, why is the music got to stop in between? Like, let's keep the party going. Like, no talking.
Yeah.
Like, in between, let's like just keep the beat alive. So yeah. So I'd say like around probably like that first leg of like, but I guess between checking out the scene in Baltimore and then going on like my first tour and seeing it, like how it all goes down around the world, that it was really like, I gotta keep this alive in my music.
I love that. I want to touch on something you said. You talked about that realization that house music is black music. Um, and I first discovered, like, really fell in love with dance music in 1999. And I think up until that point, I had always considered, like, hip hop and R&B to be something that was ours. And I had never ever considered dance music at all. And then as I started to dive further into it and started to realize that, it became even more special to me. And I think that's something people over the last year have started to reckon with. Um, the fact that dance music and house and techno are black and brown and queer. Um, and you've kind of spoken to that this year. So I kind of want to understand, how do you see dance music playing a role in activism in that way?
I mean, I was listening to this Beatport talk with Dr. Cornel West
Mm.
and Seth Troxler earlier this year. I think it was like for Black History Month. And I think I was like like 2020, during the pandemic, I was trying to figure out like how, and figure out, is it putting a positive message over these beats? Is it just having a release, to release these emotions and move to something and just work it out, and just kept like trying to figure it out and read and listen and study and talk to people. And I think listening to that talk really just told me like, it's all of it, you know, it's all of it. And I think that we can keep inspiring, the next generation, or people that, have nothing to, or, don't even know like what's going on, like over here,
Yeah.
like all the way out in, Egypt, all the way out in Asia, and put these messages in the music that can just help them see a different light or a different avenue. But then at the end of the day, for people who are going through the struggle, we get together, we convene, and we support each other. And music can be therapy,
Yeah.
and in just a way that you can't do with words, that you can't do with, talking to a therapist, or talking to, your core group about, I mean, there's been moments on the dance where we just see people like, just like in tears, just like having a beautiful moment or a beautiful revelation. Moments where I've been in other cities and, like I don't speak the language, but we're dancing together and we're just like, just happy, and just letting
Yeah.
it out. So, I mean, I think both ways I've tried to like talk about what's going on more in the music. I've had a couple records come out, one specifically with this dude Sebas out in Mallorca,
Yeah.
and just talking about being cooped up for quarantine and watching people, die on social media, and
Yeah.
just how trippy that experience is. But I think the more we can talk about the whole experience, and the more we can really understand that dance music can be, therapeutic, and just release on the dance floor, the closer we'll get to, finding some peace and some harmony with each other.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Um,
Thanks, Alex.
I I always like to ask, we're getting close to the end, and I always like to, like, wrap things up. And I think this is a good way to, like, segue out of that last statement that you said, and ask what excites you about the future of dance music.
Hmm. I mean, I think really just coming off the incubation period of 2020, I feel like we were realizing, like you just said, that there's not enough representation of the brown the brown and black and queer spectrum of house music. You know, we see so many festival lineups where it's a lot of, where it's not very diverse.
At all. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm starting to see more and more labels, more and more festivals, more and more promoters just trying to push and show more diversity. And that's what I'm excited for, just to hear more voices and to, I mean, we have plenty of established artists that are doing great work, plenty of legacy artists that are still doing great work, but I really enjoy hearing new music from new voices, that are really hungry and sharing an experience that's completely unique. So I'm just really excited for more of that stuff to come out. I'm more excited, to have opportunities like this to talk about it, and hopefully more of a platform to push, my homies and acquaintances that are sending me like really dope tracks and lift them up, and bring them to the next level. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like the more we're able to see ourselves reflected in festival lineups and in media and on Spotify playlists or what have you, the more of us will come out of the woodwork. Because it's not like these people aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had their chance to emerge yet, and maybe it's because they don't feel like they can,
Right.
or they're not feeling welcome. So it makes me feel good that we may be moving towards a day where we don't have to talk about this anymore, where we can say everybody's just an artist and there's a broad spectrum of people to look at. But until we get there, I'm also comforted knowing that we have lots of emerging artists that are doing the damn thing, and I'm excited to see more too.
Hell yeah.
As I warned you, we are going to be doing a speed rounds. You have not been quizzed. You haven't been told about any of these questions yet, so I'm going to hop right into it. Are you ready?
I'm ready
All
as
right.
I'll ever be.
Intimate club or festival?
Ooh. Okay, that's tough. I guess right now I'm feeling the festival vibe, actually.
All right.
I'm feeling, I didn't think it would come around, but I just did like a run. I was at Dirty Bird and then at 3 Points, and just to see so many dope acts, but also to commune with so many amazing people and get to see friends that you might not normally see. I don't know, that really made it special. That's a tough one though. But I think I really am feeling the festival vibe right now.
All right. Well, I mean, you picked two really, really good ones, so I could see how you could feel that way after that. All right. Festival or rave?
Oh,
Yeah.
man. All right, let's go with the rave there.
All
Yeah.
right. Snow or beach?
You say snow
Or beach?
or beach? Beach.
Lake or ocean?
Ooh. Ocean.
A walk in the woods or escape through the streets?
Skate through the streets.
Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
I think whisper, because you can always turn the mic up.
That's
You
true.
you can get that. Get that. Wah!
I
You know
love
what I'm
that.
saying?
Taking it back.
Yeah.
808 or 909?
808.
Yeah. Drum and bass or hip hop?
Damn. I mean, I eat hip hop. It's gotta be.
All right. Jazz or the blues?
Ooh. Ooh, that's hard, Alex. Because I feel like I came up playing the blues, but
You can see why I picked these questions.
I guess I gotta go jazz, because we can get weird or we can keep it straight.
That is true. That is true. Analog or digital?
Boy, oh boy. I That's also tricky. I mean, I've been loving playing in the box, but I'm starting to jam with some guys that are doing more analog stuff. So let's speak it into existence. We're gonna get a couple analog things happening. Analog.
All right. Ibiza or Miami?
Ooh. I mean, it's been a while since I've been to Ibiza. But I'm really liking the Miami scene, and I want to tap more into it. So
All
let's say
right,
Miami.
cool. Miles Davis or Dizzy Gillespie?
Davis all the way.
All right, that was an easy one.
That was an
Coffee or
easy
tea? Coffee or tea?
one. T.
Pizza or sandwiches?
Actually, I take that one back. It's I guess it's coffee. I'm starting to become a
Oh,
coffee guy.
I mean, you're in Miami. It's you get Cuban there,
Nothing like a cafecito. Yeah,
right?
coffee. It's coffee.
Pizza or sandwiches?
um, oof. I guess pizza. I've been getting on that cauliflower pizza tip.
Oh, I've never had. That sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's healthier somehow. I don't know how, but
It's got
tastes.
vegetables inside.
Yeah, yeah. It's made of vegetables. It's
Right.
just healthier.
It can't be unhealthy.
Got
Um,
vitamins.
right? Wine or beer?
Mm, damn, Alex, you really come in with the heat. I've actually okay. I guess I'm gonna go beer because I've been having some really crazy beers here. There's this brewery called Tripping Animals, and they've got these like weird smoothie beers that taste like a
What?
fruit soda, and
Whoa.
I fuck with that vibe.
I would fuck with that too. You're blowing my
Yeah,
mind here
you
today.
got you got to check it out. Tripping Animals.
All right.
But too much wine and I get angry. I'm an angry wino.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wine just makes me tired.
I get
Sleep.
sassy.
Yeah, sleepy. Sassy wino.
Yeah.
Favorite color?
Oh, I feel like I always just say red, but I don't have a lot of red. Um, but yeah, I think like a subtle, like a nice like ox blood or
Okay.
or a burgundy.
Burgundy. A burgundy.
That always
Right.
gets me. Mhm.
And would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every single song you hear?
Oof. I dance. I was hanging out with my homie Brandon Lucas, and he showed me just how much choreography I need to like get down, like to really get down. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I want to go back and study some MJ, some Janet, you know what I'm saying? Get that you know, get the
Ooh.
you know.
Oh, getting in
So
there.
yeah, I might as well get my steps in. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it. And then final question, finish this sentence. Before I die, I want to.
Skydive? Yeah.
Well, you are the second person to give me one of those answers where they're doing something like out of the ordinary. One other person said scuba dive and then quickly
Uh
afterwards said, no, I don't want to scuba dive. Why did I say that?
I mean, I guess they also say you should do the things that you're most afraid of. I
True.
have, sometimes I work on bits and I feel like it would be really scary, but I'd love to do a comedy show and like just try out some jokes
I
for no more than like 5 minutes or maybe like just 2 minutes. But
just
that's another thing that I feel like I'm gonna be like a wuss if I don't try it.
well, if you ever find yourself playing a comedy club somewhere, you let me know about that because I'd be down to watch it.
All right, hell yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to me today. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you. All right, we'll be talking soon.
All right, bet.
All right.